Superhero transformations are the pivotal moments in movies that can never be dull. Heroes confronting their potentials, some realizing the curse, some meeting their true calling. The transformations come in various shapes, sizes and colors, but these are the moments when our heroes achieve greatness and leave us inspired to the core. We've already made 2 volumes on best superhero transformations, and it seems that you love them a lot. So we're back with volume 3. I'll leave the links of the first 2 volumes in the description. Let's get started. Did we say exciting? Scratch that, this one's horrific. So Fantastic Four's a group of heroes that get a lot of love. They're everywhere. Their lives, their villains and their famous transformations. So 2015's Fantastic Four gives a scary look to the age-old story of how Reed, Sue, Johnny and Ben become the Fantastics. The men are on an alien planet with Victor and they have no idea about the green liquid. So what does Victor do? He straight up touches it. Yeah mate, it's totally normal to put your hand inside green lava that you know nothing about. Totally normal and dumb. Victor Von Doom's little charade leads to a big explosion and the men are just running for survival. The ground's shaking, lava's flowing and the explorers are caught in between. The liquid engulfs Victor and we know who he becomes later because of that. On the other hand though, Reed, Johnny and Ben barely manage to run away, but not without bringing the curse with them. Even little Sue can stay away. Now this scene is dark, violent and scary, but it does well to show how each of the Fantastics got their powers. Speaking of horror, you haven't seen true horror transformation until now. The Crow is a movie forever etched into history for its troubled production and the lead actor Brandon Lee's tragic death. As a standalone movie, The Crow's nothing short of an extraordinary achievement. It's gritty, it's raw, and it's most definitely dark. The particular moment when Eric comes back from the dead and relives all the moments with his fiancée is just heartbreaking. The tragedy that followed her, the violence that followed their lives, it was just too real. Sworn to avenge her, Eric harnesses the darkness and becomes an anti-hero, the Crow, a true avenger, a real Batman. But it's not just the movie, the scene is more tragic when you realise Brandon was already dead in real life before this scene. His friend had to stand in so that the iconic movie could get completed. Kids growing up with the MCU and DCEU won't know what the Crow meant for fans, but the streets won't forget. Things might have gotten a bit dark back there, so we're back to kick-ass superhero transformations. And this time we have our friendly neighborhood guy, Spider-Man. We've seen 3 versions of Spider-Man on screen, so we have 3 origin stories. But we're gonna go with the middle one because this is the one that's the most fun and stays true to the comics. So the usual story unfolds. Peter Parker, lab, genetically modified spider and a gentle kiss. The dude wakes up with all the cool things spiders have, minus the look. He's super strong, super agile, can climb trees to bring down your kitten and has crazy spider sense, but he doesn't have the ability to actually shoot webs from his hand, much like in the original comics. So the kid gets to work in. Small successes and bigger failures later, Peter has a functional web shooter and a spandex suit for himself. Spider-Man's transformation scenes are always so cool because it's a teenager's bravado meeting the excitement of something new. Okay, this one's really one of the quirkiest transformations ever. Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, needs to pass on the baton, and who does he choose? A low-key felon with shady tactics. Scott may have seen how the inside of a prison smells like, but dude, he's 100% solid. He's pretty honest for a thug, and smart again for a thug. Hank knows Scott Lang is the real deal, so he gives him a little tour of the ant world. Scott has no idea what he's getting into, and it makes for a fascinating and hilarious transformation scene. Life's not really simple when a bathtub feels like a football field and when a rat looks like a dinosaur. But Scott does it. He handles mighty challenges like water, vacuum cleaners, DJ turntables, dancing shoes, and rats. In just a few minutes, we see the entire day of the Ant-Man's life, which mainly involves not getting stepped on by random stuff. arguably the most famous female superhero. When Wonder Woman released in 2017, superhero movies had long ditched their traditional comic book kitschiness and embraced darker, more realistic tones. So the movie's rather vintage take on the famous transformation scene might have surprised some. That's not to say it didn't work though. There's something about that moment when Diana takes off her coat and heads into enemy territory, fearless and alone. Amid the bleak blues and greys of the battlefield, her familiar red, blue and gold stand out like beacons of hope. Her tiara, lasso, shield and gauntlets are symbols of both power and courage. There's no dearth of movie moments that pit one against many, yet Diana Prince's single-handed takedown of the enemy and her evolution from warrior princess to superhero never appears cliched or tired. It's a great comic book style moment brought to life on the big screen. Now that was some heroic stuff from Jean Grey, but it's time to go for an anti-hero now. Speaking of anti-heroes, rarely anyone can match Spawn and his gang of Hellspawn. The warriors from Hell are sent back to Earth to carry out the devil's work, but Spawn has other intentions. He's here to kill Wynn, the person responsible for his journey to Hell. Spawn returns to Earth and goes through one of the most creepy yet fascinating transformations ever. I mean, it's ghastly, somewhat deranged, but totally awesome. Spawn becomes a Hellspawn and gets his necroplasm armor. He's amazingly strong and has multiple weapons ready underneath the armor. On a lighter note, Spawn's transformation reminds us of...
You look like an avocado. Had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado. Yeah, not gently, like it was hate fucking.
Okay, back to the woohoo! That guy just became a superhero moment. Arthur Curry can talk to fish, but it's about to get serious now. His mother is Queen Atlanna, and Arthur has to finally live up to the fate he's been thrust, the ruler of the Seven Seas. But Arthur has one monster problem, Carathen. Ain't nobody getting the trident of the King of Atlantis if he's not worthy. But what can we say? Our guy Arthur's more than capable. So Arthur lets it go. He becomes his most vulnerable self and proclaims his love for the worlds, the land and the water. The worthy Arthur finally lifts the trident, granting him the power of the seas, and thus one true king is born. It's incredible how Jason Momoa made the much maligned orange and green suit of Aquaman look absolutely badass. If Aquaman was always this cool, no one would have a problem with him. DC movies are marked by the hero's epic moments that define who they are. First it was Superman's flight, then came Wonder Woman's No Man's Land, now it's time to welcome the King of Atlantis. Boy, oh boy, Chris Hemsworth becoming Chris Hemsworthy is a goosebump moment indeed. Thor's defined by his worthiness, much like Aquaman. So when he deviated from everything Thor should represent, he found himself powerless as the next human. But through the love and guidance of Jane Foster and the gang, Thor goes from a spoiled brat to a worthy savior, so much so that he even sacrifices his life for us mortals. That was enough to be a worthy Thor, and Odin agrees. So it happens, Mjolnir returns to his one true ruler, and Thor gets his life back. His injuries are healed, he gets shiny new armor, and he's more powerful than ever. The mighty Thor at his height is a match for no one, and Loki's robot learns that pretty quickly. Thor summons his godly power and rains hell on it, and for a change, Thor actually goes for the head. It always works, only if he could have remembered that in Infinity War. Anyway, Thor's transformation from an almost dead Asgardian at his lowest point to a mighty god is nothing short of inspiring.
That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
What's up, danger?
Remember when we told you Spider-Man's got 3 different origin stories on screen? Well, we lied because we saved the best for our #1 spot. Miles Morales becoming the Spider-Man. It's the coolest superhero transformation you'll ever see. And by cool, we mean it's frigging cool. Miles channels his inner contradictions and finally lets it go. A free-flowing Miles tapping the raw potential of Spider-Man. It doesn't get better than this. The way he leaps off the buildings and rooftops is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a teen. If you know, you know. Coupled with the bomb background score and era-defining graphics, Miles Morales' transformation scene is a dream come true for every comic book fan. Superhero movies are all about these heroes stirring things up and beating the bad guys to a pulp. This is what we sign up for, isn't it? We know this is groundbreaking stuff, but you must have 1 or 2 favorite, right? Why don't you tell me that in the comments and also recommend if I've missed anything out. Click the card on the top right to check out my superhero transformations playlist. Please like the video, share it with your crew, and don't forget to subscribe to the TV Regent. See ya.